Hello and welcome to a Friday edition of the Establish the Run NBA Injury Show. I am back. Yes, you didn't ask for it. You didn't want it, but I am back as the host for today's injury show as we get set for another NBA Cup day. As always, joined by Mike Gallagher. How's it going today, Gallagher?
Doing great. Fun little 4-game NBA night last night, capped by Franz Wagner. Taking the soul out of the Lakers. That was fun. Watched a little football too. The snow game was fun to watch. So it's a fun little light night. And yeah, good slate today. Lots to talk about. I love the NBA Cup. We don't get any piss-colored floors today. The Hawks play with a yellow court. The Lakers play with a yellow court. So no, don't have to change the tint of your TV today. I do like most of the courts out there. Do you have any thoughts on the courts?
I saw the Raptors court. People were at like the full 3.9 inches over the Raptors court. I thought it looked cool. But the coolest thing to me is that these teams actually care, and like it actually matters for minutes and projections and everything. Like the fact that they got these teams to actually care about regular season games in November, to me, is a massive win for the NBA and a win for us too. I think I don't know about easier to project, but like anytime there's things changing with rotations or minutes, I feel like that's an edge for us too, right? I mean, so I think the NBA Cup has been a massive success. I was skeptical that like they could get anyone to care about the NBA in November, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like they're changing the All-Star game. I don't. There's nothing they could do to the All-Star game to make me like it. It's like one day I don't watch any I'd never watch All-Star game. It's the worst. But yeah, NBA. I guess I'll just get into NBA Cup real quick. So we talked about this earlier last week, where later on in the NBA Cup, there's kind of more teams running up the score, mattering for point differential and all that. So before we get into injuries, I just wanted to lay it out for people, kind of what's on the table and who kind of could be, running things up a little bit more, could mean more to them. So the Nets play tonight. They play the Sixers. They're 1-1. A lot of their players are talking about how nice it would be to get that $500K. And they play the Sixers, who are dead. Like the Sixers have nothing to play for. But we added a little bit to the Nets because they could run it up. We'll talk about the injuries there. The Bucks are prime circle to like really run up the score. We added some minutes to Dame, added some minutes to Giannis there. The Pacers are kind of deadish after getting smoked, but this game means a lot. We'll talk a little bit about Halliburton in a second and Carlisle as well. The Hawks are another team that's primed to run it really tight. They play a really high scoring game. I think it's like 248 total. So we added some minutes to Trey. We added some minutes to Jalen Johnson. Those guys can run it up. The Celtics are huge favorites, but they could also, because they have to catch the Hawks here, and they already lost to the Hawks when they were 17-point favorites. So they could, we took a little bit of blowout being 17-point favorites, but not like to the degree we normally would, because we could see them kind of run up the score. The Bulls and Wizards are probably dead there. Rockets, we saw them play late in the blowout. They could really run up the score today. The Blazers too, they play each other, but the Rockets are big favorites. We didn't give like almost any blowout on a 10-point spread, which is very unusual. We think they're going to play them pretty deep here. Nobody here really matters. And then this one's interesting. So the Warriors could actually clinch today if they win, and I think if Denver loses, they would clinch. But they could still try to run it up. Draymond's talked a lot about that. And then the Denver-Dallas game is major implications. So we ticked up those minutes, could see a ton of Kyrie, and we'll talk about Jokic as well.
Yeah, and the point that you're trying to make is that point differential is a tiebreaker to advance, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, we've seen a lot of times, like it's really in the last day, there could be, we saw the Celtics do it. We saw the Magic do it last year where they were playing guys. The Celtics famously were fouling Drummond on purpose because he's a bad free throw shooter, getting more possessions to run up the score. Yeah. So we won't see anything like that today, but we could see, rather than hey, you're up 20, we'll pull these guys out at 7 minutes. They might pull them out at like 4 minutes, just to tack on a little bit more on the scoring.
Okay, yeah, and for people wondering why I am here, I know everybody wants to hear Dink's takes. The idea here is that I am just helping Dink out on these Friday shows because there are so many projections to go through. And so if you want Dink's actual takes on all this stuff, it will flow through to all our projections. Obviously, you can find those on the site. Also, I should note that this is not a permanent thing. Mark is going to be back in the NBA streets with you guys in the next month or so, about a month out from Mark being back in the NBA streets with you guys as well. Someone who actually knows ball, yes, not I.
Give us Dank back. You guys stole him from us for this house.
All right. Are you ready to get into the injuries, Gallagher?
Yeah, man. Ready to go.
All right. First up, I have the Brooklyn Nets. Nick Claxton is probable. DFS is probable. Cam Thomas is available. Thoughts on Nets injuries tonight?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a surprise to see Nick Claxton get upgraded this quick. He was supposed to miss a week or more, and it's a week exactly. Had a back injury that's been bothering him since summertime, and he just kind of pulled it last week against the Celtics, and they gave him an injection. So he's back. We think he's going to be limited. We saw them coming off a hamstring that cost him his whole preseason. They were really careful with him. We were waiting and waiting and waiting for him to start. Finally does, and now he's hurt. So we think there's a pretty decent chance they do bring him off the bench. Now, the matchup could maybe shift that. We'll talk about that in Joel Embiid in a second. So it's kind of like 50-50 that Claxton is starting or coming off the bench. We do have a cap on him regardless, as we expect him to be managed. Dorian's had this ankle thing. He's been listed. He should be good to go. He'll continue to start. And then Cam Thomas, which we mentioned, he was a late day probable downgrade. And I kind of like oversold that, but turns out I was right because he didn't play with the probable tag. So shout out to me. As you would say. So, so we expect all those guys to be back. The Cams will start, and we think, again, Ben could start or come off the bench for Claxton, and then Schroeder would obviously start there. But, yeah, the other question is, like, what happens to this rotation? They had Trendon Watford back in the mix, and he played kind of late in this game overall. So we're kind of cutting out Keon Johnson now, and Shake Milton also would get scrapped here. But, Claxton, we're unsure if he's going to start or come off the bench.
Okay. 76ers, man. I mean, I obviously still have a ton of friends in Philly. They've like given up on this team already. I guess someone leaked this story and Embiid. I've been defending Embiid for so long. I think he's an awesome player, but people in Philly really hate him and his attitude and the flopping and the injuries in the playoffs. It feels like it's like a ticking time bomb about to blow up. Anyways, Embiid is questionable. Paul George is out. What's going on here, Gallagher? I mean, is there any hope for the Sixers? And what do you think about these injuries here tonight?
Yeah, Dink and I, again, like we are like so sick and tired of talking about the Sixers on the podcast, but it's just hard not to. There's such a big story. So let's start with Paul George. Hyperextended his knee again. So this is the same knee he hyperextended in the preseason, same knee he hyperextended last year. I would say each of the hyperextensions have looked better, meaning like not as bad as like the most recent one was like not bad. The one before was like and then the one last season was like, oh my God, is he going to be out for a long time? Bad. So again, kind of a day-to-day thing. Nick Nurse said no structural, all that. So we're going to have Paul George out for a couple games just to get Embiid covered. He watched shoot around, which I've like rarely seen that wording. Maybe it was just I'm just like every time you read an Embiid story, you're like, oh, your just brain just thinks something crazy is going to happen. So I don't know, man. Like I think he might sit. We saw him get banged twice in the knee, was limping around, did play great, scored 35 points, had it all going, roll man, post-ups, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of unsure on Embiid. We're almost certainly going to get a game time decision. The Sixers always do that with him on a Q tag. So, for those who are waiting, if you really want to be first on the news, what I do, the 76ers Twitter account will tweet out their starting lineup. That's probably when we're going to find out Embiid's playing or not. If with Paul George out, there's two starting candidates. One would be Kelly Oubre. That would make the most sense. You get another wing in there, and then you have some scoring, yada, yada. But it's worth noting that Gerson Yabusele replaced Paul George when he got hurt. They're playing him more at the 4 now. So those are the two candidates, leaning Oubre, but it could be Yabusele. And then if Embiid's out, I think it's very likely to be Oubre because you need Yabusele to play the 5 to go with Drummond. So, yeah, just a complete mess with the Sixers, but what else is new?
Embarrassing. All right.
Yeah.
Celtics, we have no notes on. You want to skip the Celtics?
Yeah, just we could skip them. We talked just again. They're basically healthy-ish, but they're 17-point favorites. And then as we noted, like they could run up the score here. This is a good opportunity to it. I think they're 17-point favorites. They have like 128 point total. So yeah, that's the only real note.
All right, Wizards. God, I'm gonna butcher this. Bilal Koulibaly is available.
Nailed it.
Wow. Wow.
Shout out to you.
Any more thoughts on Wizards here tonight?
Yeah, we actually got Brian Keefe. This team's terrible. I'm like already kind of celebrating my under 22.5 wins on this team. And Brian Keefe, despite getting blown out, despite being last in defense and looking like the worst team in basketball, they're 2-11. He's always pretty upbeat, right? He's always like, oh yeah, we played hard. I like what we did. We got open shots, yada, yada. for the first time, I would say he was pissed, and he did not like how this team played in the Garden. So he basically said they had to look in the mirror and figure out stuff. So we're up a little bit on a starter's watch here. It could be Alex Sarr, who's been playing really poorly. Obviously, number 2 pick. It would be hard to do that move, but that's one of the teams we've got. Like, there was 2 coaches who raged. That's one of them. We'll talk about the Pacers in a little bit. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, Bilal Coulibaly went through concussion protocol. He's all good. So he'll be starting in place of Malcolm Brogdon, who will go back to the bench. And we saw a bit of a squeeze here. Corey Kispert's minutes got squeezed when Brogdon returned a couple games ago. So they're getting some bodies here. But again, I would keep an eye on some possible lineup changes here.
I have a working theory about Jordan Poole, Gallagher. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I'd love it.
When Draymond Green punched him in the face, it broke his shot and his spirit, and he'll never be the same for the rest of his life. That was the end for Jordan Poole. What do you think about that?
I think that's fair, man. The Warriors had to get off that guy. So they couldn't take it anymore. So hey, he's paid, man. So shout out to him.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to those Warriors. Steph Curry is probable. D'Anthony Melton, of course, is out for this season. Thoughts on Warriors, Gallagher?
Yeah, they are back-to-back, so that's important to note. It is a cup game. As I mentioned, they may try to clinch this thing. Let me pull the box score up here. So, yeah, Steph, they're playing San Antonio tomorrow. He's going to play, but, like, we're trying to figure out if he's going to play deeper to get the blowout here, because if they get this game and they add point differential, which will be tough because Dallas scored so many points, which I'll get to. So yeah, expecting them to play for sure. Lindy Waters will be in the starting lineup going forward, according to Steve Kerr. And as we've been talking about all season, the Warriors are, quote, or Steve Kerr is committed to a 12-man rotation. He's going to keep playing 12 as long as he has 12 guys to play. It's really annoying, and it's really taken Jonathan Kuminga's minutes down. A guy who we thought would be playing 26, 27 minutes nightly can't get to 20 minutes on the regular now. So it's pretty lame, and it's a situation to avoid for, betting, anything for DFS. The lines are mostly adjusted. Like, I always like to play Buddy Hield against 3-point teams, like the last game. I had 4 threes, and he went 3-9. Why couldn't you go 4-9? But I digress. But yeah, so expect them in big blowout. Other note, against the spread, the Warriors have the best point differential against the spread. The Pelicans have the worst point differential against the spread, and it's still only 10. I think I might hit this.
Yeah. 12 my guys is crazy. I'm coaching kids teams, and we have 11 kids on the team, and on some of these teams I'm supposed to make everyone play roughly the same amount. It's almost impossible with 11 guys for everybody to make. And you see this here in the box score. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen 12 guys.
It's consistently 12, and a lot of teams are doing 11 now. The Grizzlies, a couple other teams, but yeah, 12 is just nuts.
All right. Pelicans. CJ McCollum is doubtful. Jordan Hawkins is questionable. Brandon Ingram is questionable. Yves Missy is questionable. Thoughts on the Pelicans here, Gallagher?
Yeah, they got upgraded since we talked. Brandon Ingram, and that's my bad for not updating your note. Brandon Ingram and drawing a blank here.
CJ McCollum.
Jordan Hawkins. Sorry, I just drew a blank for a second. Jordan Hawkins says he's feeling great, so he's good to go. We expect Hawkins to come off the bench. His back injury, he was playing through it for a bunch, and we kept taking unders on him because we knew he wasn't going to play because he was playing through it. So we expect him to be limited. Starting is a little bit tricky, right? Obviously, the Brandons are going to start. Brandon Ingram, Brandon Boston. Obviously, Yves Missy will continue to start. And then I think it's still going to be Javonte Green in the starting lineup. I should mention Trey Murphy also back. He'll be starting too. So the Brandons, Trey Murphy, and then Yves Missy are locks. And then I think Javonte Green starts and they bring Elfrid Payton off the bench. But I wouldn't be shocked if Elfrid Payton, that Elfrid Payton, is back in the rotation again. He got signed day of on Wednesday and then goes out and, he was playing he was almost triple-double pace. So he's earned a rotation spot to me. How many minutes he plays is up for debate. We were trying to figure out who the 10th is. The 10th man is going to be one of Jamal Cain, Elfrid Payton, who I think's got the inside track, and then Antonio Reeves, who just scored 34 points in his first real opportunity. He was not in the rotation. And then it was his birthday. See, everybody loves the birthday narrative. So shout out to Antonio Reeves. But expecting these guys back. CJ McCollum, as you mentioned, doubtful. So he's getting closer when he's starting to going through practice.
Yeah, actually, I played on Wednesday, NBA DFS, and I had this guy who I never heard of, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, on Yahoo, at 0.5% owned. And I feel like I got a bad run out. He got 35 minutes in this game, man. I mean, and he took 6 threes. I mean, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Any more notes on McCollum? Somebody is saying in chat that McCollum is out now.
Oh, yeah, he got downgraded out. Sorry, that's my other note that happened while I was prepping.
Yep. Okay, cool. Hawks. I think the Hawks are healthy now, Gallagher. Any thoughts on them?
Yeah, they're basically as healthy as they get. They've got Lundy's out, but that doesn't really matter. And as I mentioned, they could go for this. Trey is playing through injury. It's something that's going to be quote unquote lingering on his Achilles. And I did a little digging. His shots off drives have really come down since he got listed with an Achilles. So it could be a little bit of that. He's still passing a ton there, but not being as aggressive is interesting. This matchup is so good. So if he has another bad game today, I'm really concerned about Trey Young's long-term availability and upside on a nightly basis. And then also, as you noted, they're pretty healthy now. So DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kobe Buffkin, all these guys are playing minutes, and it's really cutting into the number one pick, Zachary Richichet's minutes. Only played 19, hasn't been playing great. DeAndre Hunter's been awesome. They were 4-0 before they lost this last game. So yeah, a bit of a squeeze. But yeah, they're going to go for this. I think the Hawks want to try to get this cup. If they get this one with another big win, they're sitting pretty.
Somebody's saying in chat that Jeremy Grant just picked up
Yep, that just happened like 4 minutes ago.
So okay, we'll get to that when we get to the Rockets. Yep. Okay. Let's go to the Chicago Bulls. Torrey Craig is probable. Kobe White is probable. Patrick Williams is out. Go ahead on the Bulls, Gallagher.
Yeah, so we were kind of thinking Torrey Craig would start for Giannis for the matchup because Julian Phillips is so small. That's the kind of backup for behind Patrick Williams. But Craig was great. He scored 15, played 28 minutes. Didn't have a great defensive job overall, which we'll talk about Giannis in a second. But yeah, we feel pretty confident that he's done enough to keep the starting job. So he'll stick in the starting lineup. And again, this is going to be a crazy, crazy high scoring game. So a lot of value. And then they're going to need someone to guard Trae Young. So Josh Giddey's minutes could come down because Torrey Craig was solid, and they're going to need him to guard Jalen Johnson. So yeah, Josh Giddey's minutes are really, really down. The best ball bags are not doing great overall there, but there's a chance Craig doesn't play as much here, but he's still going to probably play low 20s because they're going to need to play Io a pretty good bit to cover Trey.
Mm-hmm. All right, Pacers. Ben Shepherd is questionable. Jarace Walker is questionable. And they might have a lineup change. Go ahead on the Pacers, Gallagher.
Yeah, so I mentioned it yesterday and today that Rick Carlisle went off. He was fuming about this team, talking about how they're not playing, how they have to watch the tape multiple times to figure out what's wrong. It's been just he said that they're going to struggle against good teams really badly. So, looking at that, and then the other thing that was important to note, Quentin Jackson makes his first NBA start, scores 24 points, and was great. He scored 17 points on drives, 7-7 on shots off drives, got at the rim at will against the Rockets, was so good. In my opinion, based on Carlisle's comments and how well he played, I think Quentin Jackson starts regardless of Ben Shepherd's status, regardless of Jarace Walker's status, all that stuff. So I'll get to that in a second, but I feel pretty good Quentin is going to start and guard Damian Lillard. We'll talk about that in a second too. So what happened? Who does he start for, right? If Ben Shepherd's back, I wouldn't be surprised if Ben Mathurin goes to the bench. Hasn't been playing great defense, has been called out subtly by Carlisle a couple times. Didn't get it when I'm talking about this rage presser here. But yeah, keep an eye out on that. And then the other note, man, oh God, Halliburton's been so bad. Just shooting terribly off the bounce, shooting catch and shoots like crap. The leash might get tight. I thought they would list him with Q. His back's bothering him. So I don't he's owned this matchup. He had huge stats against them last year, the Bucks. But I don't know. I would had he been healthy, he would have been a cover boy matchups a candidate for me. But can't trust this guy. He just looks terrible right now.
Yeah, Halliburton shooting 39% this month, 30% from three. I saw some pictures on social media of Halliburton bragging with he's going to the club and he's bringing girls back and stuff, and he's taking pictures with them and bragging about it. I was like, well, what is this guy doing? He's in the NBA. Of course you're going to the club and bringing girls back. It's not like me and Gallagher going to the club. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous. But yeah,
that's how I get down in the club. You don't? I thought you were cool.
Yeah. Top pick says Halliburton's shoulder still injured. That's how he's
His
playing.
back, his
So,
shoulder, he's all messed up. He
yeah,
looks so bad.
too many snow bunnies for Holly. Yeah. All right. Let me address Dick Chuck here. He says, "Are we playing Anthony Richardson this week?" Oh wait, this is the B-ball show. Get out of here. I'll give you some free alpha. Free alpha on Anthony Richardson. The floor is very, very good with Anthony Richardson. It's the ceiling that always concerns me on him, but there'll be so many designed runs in this game for Anthony Richardson, like we saw last week. Floor is good. I question the ceiling. We'll talk more about that on Friday. Anyways, I digress.
Are there any I need to pick up some receivers. Any sneaky like bye week super duper deep guys? I got like Trey Tucker. Well, I'm sorry. Let's stick to basketball. Just have to pepper you with the show later.
Bucks. Giannis is probable. Ryan Rollins is out. Chris Middleton is out. Thoughts on the Bucks?
So yeah, this is a pretty messy situation for the guard perspective. We've seen Andre Jackson kind of get. Oh, I got the wrong box up. My bad. We're at here. We saw Andre Jackson in this game got yanked. So 2 games ago, he only played 5 minutes in the starting lineup because they were putting Alfred Şengün on him. So this next game gets a little better, gets up to 14 minutes. But the problem is AJ Green's playing really well for them. He's guarding guys. He's going to pick a lot of like lead guard defensive responsibilities. And they keep talking him up. He's won like defensive player of the game for them. And he's kind of coming for minutes. And then the other guy coming for minutes too is Gary Trent. He was dead. Almost out of the rotation, and now he's kind of back in the mix. DeLon Wright also there. So that's kind of the 3 bench group on the guards. Bobby Portis as well. Still expecting Andre Jackson to start. But the headline, as I noted, Giannis just owns these guys. Let me get his stats from last year. I think it was, I don't have it in front of me. I'm pretty sure. There we go. He was, where are you, sir? Oh, God. 42. He averaged 42 points on a 5-game sample last year. And then, as I noted in matchups, those of you who are really hardcore may remember that Giannis had the 64-point franchise record game at the time, and the game ball went to Oscar Tshiebwe, who had his first NBA points. Giannis chases down the locker room, gets the game ball from him. So he hates this team. So Giannis, I mean, like 50-piece chicken mini season. It could be a really, really big Giannis game.
Okay. Let's go to the Portland Trail Blazers. DeAndre Ayton is doubtful. Scoot Henderson is questionable. Anthony Simons is questionable as well. What do you think about the Blazers, Gallagher?
Yeah, a lot of injuries here. And fun fact. So you're a little slow on the Anthony pronunciation. So he goes by Ant.
Okay.
And the reason why they call him Ant is because his grandma had trouble pronouncing Anthony. So fun fact. Yeah, super fun fact on a Friday. So yeah, this is little unsure. Should note his listing change. Anthony Simons. He was listed with a hand injury. They switched it to an illness. Now he's back to a hand injury. So it feels like he had a hand injury the whole time, obviously. So a little unsure on his status. Scoot Henderson hurt his quad last game. We got really lucky. We took an under on him that was like dead, but he got hurt. God bless unders. So we won that one. So yeah, one of those 2 guys will start. Delano Banton's still going to find minutes. Delano Banton has been the backup point guard when one of these guys has been out. So I think he's still in there. That's going to squeeze a little bit on Denny Avdia. And then obviously without DeAndre Ayton, that would be Donovan Clingan starting. And then Tyler will be behind him. And then as chat noted, Jeremy Grant just got that midday illness tag, which is a death blow. Usually guys miss that. So that's probably going to get Denny Avdia back in the starting lineup there. But they like Delano Banton off the bench, so I think that Denny would be starting if Jeremy Grant can't go.
Jeremy Grant was a huge part of the process when I was covering the Sixers, like beat writer for the Sixers or whatever. Jeremy Grant was. I was like, man, this kid can play. They better get him off the court because they're going to win too many games. This kid, I'm glad to see he's still in the league.
Shout out Hollis Thompson. Shout out Tony Roten.
Let's go to the Tony Roten. That was amazing.
So
Rockets. Cam Whitmore, I guess, has been sent to the G League. And then didn't we have another thing from the Rockets come up here in chat?
Talking about Grant or no?
Oh, I was talking about Jeremy Grant. Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking of the Rockets. Yeah. Go ahead on Cam Whitmore and the Rockets.
Yeah, nothing really. Again, this is a team that is going to run it up. We saw them play, pretty deep in the blowout. Well, last time they played, and they were smoking in this one. And they're playing really good basketball, man. Up to number 2 in defense right now. Number 1 in limiting catch and shoot stuff. Their transition defense is getting a little bit better. They're awesome, man. I've been betting a lot of Rockets, and I've been doing really well. I might do it again today, especially with Grant. If Grant gets ruled out, like I'd probably hit that number. That's pretty much it. Other than they're playing great overall. So yeah.
Okay. Mavs will be without Luka Doncic here tonight. Too fat, maybe out of shape. Gallagher, what do you think about the Mavs without Luka?
Yeah, pretty confident that Quentin Grimes is going to get the start. Kyrie's going to play a ton. We saw this instance without Luka in a back-to-back over the weekend, and Quentin Grimes played pretty well. I think he's going to play a pretty good bit here. That's pretty much it. More Clay. PJ Washington minutes should come up a little bit. He's been a little bit capped coming off an injury, but he'll be in there starting. And then we'll see a little bit more Jaden Hardy, a little bit more Spencer Dinwiddie. And then we'll see the bigs. We'll talk about Jokic in a second, but if Jokic is in there, then it should be, pretty heavy Derek Lively.
I'm curious what you think about this, Gallagher. I don't let my kids watch Luka play because I'm trying to teach them to play basketball the right way. And Luka walks up the court, plays no D, takes contested threes from 5 feet behind the line. It's not the way I want. He's incredible. It's just not the way I want my kids to play. I hate watching Luka play, man, but he's incredible. I'll give it to him. But yeah, I was like, it's hard for me to tell them, like, don't take that shot. They're like, Luka takes that shot. Oh, don't walk your ass back on defense. Luka walks his ass back on defense, So yeah. Yep. Anyways,
shout to you. Not when your kids watch Luka and you tell sex jokes on the internet. Got your priorities straight, man.
Exactly. I want them to watch Anthony Edwards, man. Ant-Man is that he plays incredible. I love Ant-Man.
Yeah,
he's the best. All right. I digress. Nuggets. Joker's questionable. Kankar, I was actually watching the game and I saw Kankar, who had that knee injury before. He came down on it again, non-contact, and he looked like he was all right, but he was kind of like shaking it around a little bit. Anyways, Kankar is going to be out. Jokic is questionable. Thoughts on Nuggets stuff, Gallagher?
Yeah, the good news, it doesn't sound like it's bad for Vlatko Kanchar. He's a little bit banged up, but yeah, this Jokic thing has been weird. They announced like a new shoe release that was interesting. Timing probably doesn't matter. But yeah, they were on the road. He's away for personal reasons. And Mike Malone said in the last presser he's still in Denver, but he didn't practice. So I think he's in, considering they're back home now and it's only personal. And they're not revealing too much information. Everyone thinks it's a baby. But the beats are saying that like he's fine, all this stuff. So I think he's back. If not, it would be Dario Saric getting out there in this spot. And then, that's pretty much. They played actually pretty small in this last game.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook, 200 triple-double, and he was guarding Jaren Jackson a bunch. He's guarded a lot of centers, and that was something that Mike Malone talked about, that he takes it on. He loves that challenge and all that good stuff. So, I think Joker's in, but no, not 100%.
I hate Westbrook these days, but he played an awesome game the other night for sure. Kings, DeMar DeRozan is available. Domantas Sabonis is available. Any thoughts on the Kings here, Gallagher?
Yeah, sorry, you should have talked more so I could have pulled the box up. But yeah, they've been off since Monday. So yeah, they're good to go. They were both just day to day. They've been off for a couple days. So yeah, they'll be back. They'll be starting. And then the rest of the stuff will be, De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray with those two guys. We'll see who gets cut out. You would think Doug McDermott gets really cut down. Keon Ellis's minutes will come down a pretty good bit as well. But they're back and they're playing good defense. The Kings have been above average on defense, the best transition defense in the NBA. But they've been a huge three funnel. I believe the third most catch and shoot 3-pointers allowed. So potential spot for 3-point overs.
All right. Last team to get to here today is the Los Angeles Clippers, where Norm Powell will be out. Thoughts on the Clippers here tonight, Gallagher?
Yeah, so we thought that it might be Kevin Porter Jr. starting in the last game. We mentioned it could be Amir Coffey. Turns out it was Amir Coffey, and he played great. He played really strong minutes early on, so it'll be the same starting lineup for sure. Don't have much else to add there. And then as we mentioned, it was likely that Jordan Miller was going to play, and he did. So we got that part right. We got the starter wrong. We got that part right. But feel pretty good about this situation being run back for a really good team. The Clippers are playing very well. Elite defense, elite on-ball defense, really taking away catch and shoot stuff. So very different approach defensively here for these two teams.
Okay. That's the thing, man. And I I am the ultimate cynic. Anytime I see anything online, I think it's fake. But that one did get me. That one did get me. I had no idea that that was his wife and her family. You know, I just assume everything is fake. I should default. I should default to that. All right. Any other thoughts here, Gallagher, for tonight before we get out of here?
No, just Dink and I will be breaking it down later. We'll talk more NBA Cup stuff. Been running pretty good. You know, a couple nights ago, one of our subs won 100K. Dink had a good night when he played. So yeah, it's fun night to play. We'll see. I'm imagining DraftKings cut out the late games there for the people who don't like to stay up too late. But man, there's been a lot of really good late games. Mentioned Franz. So, you know, you gotta get a nap in for you East Coast people to watch some late basketball. But yeah, you know, if you're, I'll do the Dink promo. You know, if I'll get that out of the way here. As we pull this up. So yeah, you know, you could follow us on this stuff. Definitely hit the subscribe. Definitely hit the like, smash the like button, as Dink would say. But yeah, you know, we've been running pretty good on the player props. Excited for the work that we've been putting in there. We'll have a pretty good card out. We already took Io over. We mentioned he's going to play a lot for Trae Young. So yeah, check us out. Obviously read the FAQ. But yeah, exciting season. We're a month in, man. The first month of the season is the hardest to me. And so I think about the season. First month's really hard. Second month's hard. And then Christmas, and it's like a little easier. So we're almost there. Almost there.
Good. Yeah. And you will be with Dink tonight. If you have an in-season subscription, there are weekly and monthly available. If you have an in-season subscription, with Gallagher and Dink tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. Is that correct,
Yep.
Gallagher?
Yep, 5 p.m. We'll usually be over. This will be an over-hour show for sure. We got a lot to talk about today and some injuries. So it should be good stuff.
All right. I will get us out of here now. 4, Gallagher, the king. 4, Dink, grinding his cock on projections as we speak. I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.